evening, everyone. It's the end of day 10 here in Surfside, and our efforts have continued throughout the day. I'm very grateful to the Congresswoman for joining us. She has a role also overseeing the FEMA activities, and she, I know, is super impressed, as are we all, with the incredible response of our FEMA team. So thank you, Madam Congresswoman. The number of confirmed deaths remains the same as last reported, 24, but now 23 of those next of kin have been notified. 191 people are now accounted for. That's good news. 121 are still unaccounted for. I want to remind you that the detectives are continuously updating this list, so the numbers are fluid, subject to change. As I mentioned earlier, we're continuing to move forward with due diligence and with setting a specific timeline for the demolition. We don't have that for you yet. Search and rescue does have to pause temporarily while the demolition preparation is underway, and that there is threat to the standing building that is posed to the first responders, as we've told you. So preparation includes activities like drilling into columns in the unsafe structure. So it has been determined by our engineers and our fire department in constant communication with the demolition team as the process is underway that we need to put a temporary pause, and we are continuing to receive updates about the condition of the standing structure, and we will begin the search and rescue once again on any sections of the pile that are safe to access as soon as we're cleared. The decision to move forward with the rapid control demolition has impacts on the NIST investigation, which you've heard about, a federal team. They're mobilizing with great haste to capture all possible information prior to this building coming down. And that is going to be critical to the research and investigation and final report about this building and the causes. So the National Science Foundation has now joined our team. They are here with 3D imaging and LiDAR with drones, and they're capturing as much detail as they can about the structure while it's still standing. It's going to be 3D displays that will help us as we continue to evaluate all of the evidence, and they are evidence tagging and documenting as they're going on, and this is moving very smoothly, and we're very grateful once again for the addition of this tremendous team. We continue to closely monitor the storm and the possible impacts from now Tropical Storm Elsa. A tropical storm watch was declared for portions of the Florida Keys, but not yet for Miami-Dade. That's good news so far, and we're hoping that we can hold. And to our community, we urge you once again to ensure that you are prepared in the eventuality of a tropical storm here in Miami-Dade County. There does remain uncertainty on the storm's forecast and path, so please stay safe throughout the weekend. This morning I signed an emergency order to ensure that our county departments can mobilize everything they need in preparation for a possible storm arrival. And you can access all the updates and all the information, everything you need to prepare at our website, Miami-Dade.hurricane. And 311, our emergency line in the county, is open for expanded hours that anyone can call 311 to get more information tomorrow, starting tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. So please feel free to call. Our temporary operation team will also be temporarily relocating to the Emergency Operations Center in Doral, and I'll be there tomorrow morning as we prepare for the storm. This media tent will be broken down in preparation. So you are free to remain here in the staging area outside the secure perimeter, which will remain, and press briefings will continue as previously scheduled. So far at 11:30 and 5:30, unless further notice, but we will come to you here for media briefings, and of course you can also come to the EOC for storm-related briefings. And we'll let you know if there's anything else scheduled. I also want to make a note here related to the dump trucks. Many of you have seen them transporting evidentiary debris from Surfside to another site. These trucks do not signify that we are no longer focused on search and rescue. Everything that they're trucking out of here is in fact critical to our investigation. It is evidentiary debris. So it's our way of putting it to a site where we'll be able to comb through it and better determine what we need to do a deeper dive into what happened at the site by combing through the evidence at this other location. So once again, I know you join me in thanking our heroes and sheroes for the extraordinary work that they've done these last 10 days, risking their lives to save lives on the pile in this community, coming from all over the state, the country, and the world. We are so incredibly grateful for everybody standing with us and holding us in your arms. Buenas tardes a todos. Nuestros esfuerzos continuaron durante todo el día. El número de muertes confirmado sigue siendo el mismo, 24, con 23 de ellos ahora identificados y los familiares notificados. Se contabilizan 191 personas, que buena noticia, muy buenas noticias, lo que es y 121 que están todavía desaparecidos. Quiero recordarles que los detectives están auditando continuamente en lista de personas potencialmente desaparecidas para que las cifras sigan cambiando. Como mencioné anteriormente, continuamos avanzando con nuestra debida diligencia y estableciendo un cronograma específico para la demolición, la búsqueda y el rescate si se tiene que detenerse temporalmente mientras se realiza la preparación de la demolición. Dada la preocupación por la amenaza que representa el edificio, en pie para los primeros en responder en el sitio, ya que la preparación incluye, por ejemplo, perforar columnas en la estructura insegura. Esta pausa comenzó hace poco esta tarde y nuestro equipo de rescate de incendios está en constante comunicación con los ingenieros y el equipo de demolición, ya que este proceso está en marcha para recibir actualizaciones sobre el estado de la estructura en pie y comenzaremos la búsqueda y el rescate en cualquier sección de la pila a la que sea seguro acceder. Continuamos monitoreando de cerca y preparándonos para cualquier posible impacto de la tormenta tropical Elsa. Y esta mañana firmé una orden de emergencia para asegurar que los departamentos de nuestro condado puedan movilizar todos los recursos necesarios en preparación. A nuestra comunidad continúe asegurándose de tener carriles de preparación para tormentas en su lugar, por si acaso viene todavía, ya que sigue habiendo incertidumbre en el pronóstico de la tormenta, y manténgase a salvo este fin de semana. Gracias a nuestros socorristas del mundo entero, abrazándonos, y estamos siempre orando para las familias y los socorristas. Gracias a todos.
We have the questions at the end. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Division Director for Office of Emergency Management, Deputy Incident Commander, Charles Cyril.
Good evening, everyone. Tropical Storm Elsa continues to present a threat to South Florida. We are monitoring this system closely and will continue to update the public as we prepare for potential impacts. If you have not begun your preparations, please do so. If you would like more information on hurricane preparedness, please visit miamidade.gov/hurricane or download the Miami-Dade app Ready MDC. As always, the 311 contact center is available for any questions. Over the next few hours, we will begin our temporary transition to our Emergency Operations Center. This transition will occur over the overnight hours as well. We are also continuing to provide support to the affected families at our Family Assistance Center. Today, we provided services to 21 families, bringing our local number of families served to 101. The Family Assistance Center We'll have modified hours tomorrow from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., but we'll return to normal hours from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Monday, weather permitting. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you, Mr. Terrell. Spanish remarks for Deputy Incident Commander, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Director of Media and Public Relations, Erica Benitez.
Muy buenas tardes. La tormenta tropical Elsa continúa presentando una amenaza para el sur de la Florida y estamos monitoreando el sistema de cerca y continuaremos informando al público mientras nos preparamos. Si no ha comenzado sus preparativos, hágalo lo antes posible. Es muy importante estar bien preparado. Si desea obtener más información sobre la preparación y lo que debe hacer para la llegada de esta tormenta, por favor visite miamidade.gov/hurricane. Como siempre, el centro de contacto del 311 está disponible para cualquier pregunta que tengan. Durante las próximas horas comenzaremos una transición temporal a nuestro centro de operaciones de emergencia en El Doral. También continuamos brindando apoyo a las familias afectadas en nuestro centro de asistencia familiar y hoy brindamos servicio a 21 familias adicionales, lo cual eleva nuestro número total de familias atendidas a 101 familias. Gracias.
Gracias, Erika. Surfside Mayor Charles Burkett.
Good evening. This afternoon I was at the community center and wanted to just let everybody know that it has been transformed into a 24-hour-a-day facility and restaurant for all of our police, fire rescue, support employees, and all other affected persons. The food is amazing, as is the love and passion of all the volunteers running this operation. It's truly inspiring, and I urge you all to stop by and take a look. I was also up with the families for the 5:30 briefing today, and they were updated in detail on the impending demolition, which includes the status of the rescue operation. I've had several calls from concerned residents about the impact of the demolition on neighboring properties, and I don't believe that given the plan to demolish the building and contain the debris, that any of our Surfside properties would be impacted. I've had questions about the makeup of the environmental concerns about the makeup of the debris that had come down from the building. We had that debris tested by ECS Mid-Atlantic, which were hired by our structural engineer, KCE Structural, and the findings were that there were no significant issues after testing the building debris. Lastly, I have recently acknowledged the amazing work being performed by the Miami-Dade Fire and Police. I want to also recognize the multitude of municipal police and fire departments who are also lending an indispensable hand, but also including my hometown Surfside Police Department and all of our town employees. They've worked tirelessly with love and compassion, as have all the others I have just mentioned, and I am very, very proud of all of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And on behalf of the Miami-Dade Police Director, Freddie Ramirez, an important reminder that regardless of the logistical changes, for the safety of everyone, this area will remain a restricted area. El director Alfredo Ramírez del Departamento de Policía del Condado Miami-Dade quiere recordarle que no importa de los cambios logísticos que ocurran acá, esta zona permanecerá una zona restringida para la seguridad de todo el mundo. Our Creole translator now, Yvonne Morisot.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Zéfoy a continué et chiffre yo été même genre. 24 personnes qui nous joignent, là dehors il y a 23 qui familles qui ont aidé nous identifier yo et famille ça eux ont annoncé au ça. 191 personnes qui étaient toujours nous pouvons capable compter et que nous capable compter et 121 là-dedans nous chercher toujours. Nous continuons à avancer à préparation pour démolition, gens qui nous ont annoncé là pour édifice là qui posait un danger pour secouristes nous. Nous continuons à monitorer cyclone qui a avancé rapidement sur nous et nous demander toute communauté pour faire préparation et puis tout pour être vigilant Nous capables aller dans Miami-Dade pour plus d'informations dans miamidade.gov et ou bientôt les 311 côté que vous capable répondre toutes questions que nous gagnons de 8h du matin à 7h du soir. Merci en pile. Il a prêté ouvert de 7 dans jeudi qui 7 avec le 8 puis capable être ouvert de 8h du matin à 7h du soir pour capable répondre toutes questions que nous avons posées. Merci.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. So, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Deputy Fire Chief Arthur Holmes is going to be available for answer questions once the questions begin. We're going to begin our questions and answer session. Please raise your hand, address your speaker, and only when you're called upon. Ma'am?
With the Honorable Mayor Cava, please. You mentioned a temporary stop down in order to prepare the building for the eventual demolition. When did they stop search and rescue? How much time have they chosen they need to prepare the building? And at what time are they planning to take?
Yes, let me just confirm exactly the time. So there was a temporary pause at 4 p.m. today, and we're waiting on instructions from the engineers who are inspecting for the results of what they've already been doing, the drilling, as I mentioned before we can safely resume.
Carlos?
Kristen,
I'm sorry.
Mayor, what was the feedback from the engineers that were working the site? And also, do you have a shorter time frame exactly when the demolition will begin?
Well, we're still very hopeful that we can do the demolition before the storm. Of course, we're also hopeful that the storm is going in another direction. But we are proceeding as quickly as we possibly can.
Are we talking tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow morning?
We're hopeful, but we don't have a definite time at this time.
What time did you cease
Sir?
operation?
4 o'clock. We said 4 o'clock. Yes. Pay attention.
Will any buildings at all need to be evacuated for demolition? The east tower, north tower, any buildings at all need to be evacuated for demolition?
As of this time, the instructions are no, that we will not need to evacuate any buildings. You know, we actually have already evacuated this to the south and to the north. Those would be evacuated. We've been using the south building as a temporary site for the first responders to go in and out of the lobby, but we would clear that area.
Champlain East is not been evacuated. There's still a lot of people there. That's fairly close.
No, we're not evacuating. There'll be a perimeter, and that will be announced, but it should not, as Mayor Burkett said, it should not impact people in the area. Mostly, we're going to be dealing with the empty lots, which will be cleared out.
Spanish media over here.
¿Se tiene idea cuánto tiempo va a durar la operación y en qué consiste? ¿Así va a ser hacia un lado de la calle, va a ser hacia las bases del edificio para tener un poco más idea de cómo
Sí.
se
Lo que sabemos ahora es que ellos pueden hacerlo en una manera en que toda cae muy cerquita al edificio y no va a tener mucho impacto en el área. Y el tiempo de demolición sería muy corto, no sé exactamente.
Over here, and then followed by Christine.
Question for you, ma'am. There are reports that the structural engineers that have been hired by the city of Surfside had seen indications through the photos and through examination that maybe there was not enough steel reinforcement, rebar. Can you
So-
comment on that?
Yes, so any of the questions regarding the building and its conditions beforehand would be the subject of Surfside. That they were responsible for that building, and if you'd like the mayor to answer, Mayor Burkett.
Sorry.
The question about, well,
Yes, ma'am?
The question about the reports that the structural engineers that the city had hired to look at the structure had seen through the photos and being on site that there was a possible lack of steel reinforcement. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I took those pictures and I gave those to our engineer and he's reviewing them now. We're also looking at the sister building and this may be happening tomorrow, the next day or the next day, but it's happening in a matter of days. That we're going to be x-raying ground penetrating radar and we're going to be looking at the content of the steel in the columns in those buildings. So we have the columns already. We have pictures of the columns that I took out on the beach and provided those to the engineer. But we're also doing, we're x-raying the columns in the sister building, and we're going to compare notes.
Make sure that those have enough steel reinforcements in the sister building as well?
Well, I mean, just to get a composite sort of understanding of whether the two buildings were alike, whether they were dissimilar. We just need to understand that, and I think that he's going to, once he's able to do that, can start to make a judgment as to whether or not it's sufficient or not.
Miami-Dade County Mayor, can you put us in your shoes for a second? I know that you're unable to kind of pinpoint for us right now the top question of when this demolition is happening, but can you help us understand what is exactly pending? What kind of feedback, documents, what do you need, or what are you kind of waiting for before you're able to like schedule that work?
We have the best team in the world assembled here in Surfside, starting with our fire rescue, our police, our sister municipal police and fire that are supporting us. We've got engineers from FEMA, from other federal agencies, from the State Department of Transportation, from our county office of RER. You know, we have assembled an incredible team of experts, and what is being looked at is something of tremendous consequence. It needs to be done very carefully, very thoughtfully. That's what's going on. And I am, of course, listening to all of those experts. I've sat in and had the opportunity to be part of the question and answer, and as soon as they are ready to proceed, we will let you know the details.
Last two questions, we're going over here, and gentlemen.
Yeah, I just had a real quick question on the same level. So we will be given a heads up, and roughly how much heads up will we be given? Like,
When we know, we'll tell the families, and then we'll tell you.
Sir, over your last question.
Mayor, there was a search and rescue group from Mexico that says they came to Surfside but left after not being able to access the building, and they were disappointed they couldn't help. Would you be able to elaborate on why they weren't able to help you?
Yes. So we were so fortunate that a team came from Israel and consulted us before they came, and we said, yes, please come. A team came, Cadena, that also from Mexico, and we brought them into the teams. We made them part of the effort. Another group came without notice, and we invited them to come. I directed our fire chief to enroll them as well. They made an appointment. Unfortunately, they did not make that appointment, and then we did not hear a specific invitation after that.
Thank you all.
Thank you.